Hi, everybody. This is Mitch Weissman, Beatlemania and Kiss fame. You're listening to Shout It Out Loudcast with Tom and Zeus.
And reports tonight on how destruction is impacting the campus community.
Names of O'Hara Hall, Skid Row, T-Zone, Banff.
Badass motherfuckers.
Somph, sit on my face.
Drinking like fucking ass pre-gaming, as we call it. What is this dorm damage bill on our tuition statement?
Dorm damage?
Well, we only broke like 3 chairs and 4 desks this month.
Is that a positive thing? Bam! That's right. We're back with another episode of Dorm Damage, the show where anything and everything is on the table and the table gets smashed. This is episode 130, and we have quite a special episode this week, Zeus.
Dude, doing this show now for 8 years and Dorm Damage 4 or 5. There are a few times that we're like, did that
blown
just
away?
fucking happen? Yeah.
Yep.
And for us, this is one of them.
Yeah.
So we have Mark Menghi from Metal Allegiance.
Yep.
And Mark put a new singer to sing his latest release, and a guy by the name of William DuVall. And if you listen to the show, you guys know how much big fans we are of Alice in Chains. William DuVall from Alice in Chains. So we have Mark Menghi and William DuVall. Here you go.
This week, we welcome 2 very special guests. First, we welcome Mark Menghi, the man behind the amazing metal supergroup Metal Allegiance. And joining him is the man handling vocals on their latest single, Black Horizon, and who is best known as the current lead singer for one of our all-time favorite bands, Alice in Chains, the great William DuVall. Guys, welcome to the show.
Glad to be here. Thanks very much.
Awesome.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
So since we generally do a KISS podcast, but we talk about other projects. Look, we grew up went to college in the 90s. So we had that hair metal kind of phase in high school. Once we got to college, all of a sudden, all those bands just exploded. So we loved it. Nirvana, Pearl Jam, and then Alice in Chains. And me and Tom were constantly finding out who this new thing, without the internet, who's this new band? What's this new single? And we fell in love with that music. But through it all in college, we had this one connecting thing, and that was KISS. So we started the podcast about KISS, but we have some other stuff we talk about, we enjoy to talk about. So before we start on your stuff, well, I just want to ask you each. We'll start with Mark. Do you have a KISS story?
Yeah, I mean, where I grew up on Long Island was probably about 5 minutes from where KISS used to play regularly in Amityville, Long Island, called a place called Daisy.
That's right. Yep.
And that was coincidentally, it was a shithole. When I say shithole, but that was my first gig ever as a musician, so to speak. Was at that club. It was a bar. It was a bar with a pool table, I should say. It wasn't a club. But they had all these cool photos and pictures on the wall when KISS played there back in 73.
Yep.
73, 74. It was right before the first record.
Yep.
But coincidentally enough, that was the place where they debuted their makeup.
Mm-hmm.
Was at that bar.
Yeah.
And, so that's kind of like my connection with KISS, if you will.
It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I've met the guys throughout the years. Past incarnations, the original 4 and whatnot. And they've always been awesome. And Ace. Ace, for anyone who picks up bass or guitar, Ace was a huge influence on all of us. And
sure.
Yeah, man, and hearing William sing shocked me at our last gig. That was, for me as a fan, that was a special thing. To put down the bass and to watch those guys play, that was pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah, William, tell us about that, about your background. I mean, you've done so many different things. Everybody has some kind of KISS in them. Tell us a little bit about you.
Oh, I mean, Ace was a primary influence. I mean, the guy that made me want to play music was Hendrix.
Mm-hmm.
So I started playing when I was a kid, like 8 years old in the 70s and 76. And so my discovery of Hendrix and getting that first push where the fire's lit, it's like, man, I got to do this, was it coincided with, Kiss's popular peak in the 70s. And so right as I was kind of getting introduced to music, and I was really lucky because Hendrix and all these other amazing artists that were going on, Santana and Weather Report, and so rock, jazz, avant-garde, all kinds of stuff was hitting me at the same time. But the thing that made it more approachable, as far as getting your hands on a beat up acoustic guitar without all the strings and the mile high action and kind of getting your hands on the fretboard, the thing that made it seem possible to me back then was Ace. And I love the fact that I could actually pull off early on some of the simpler phrases that I would hear him do in his solos. And he also was, it didn't get any cooler for a kid that age who was also into comic books, superheroes. It was perfect. I like so many millions of other kids got it hit me at the ideal time.
Yeah.
And, fast forward a number of years and when the original four reunited, I went with one of my closest friends and bandmates at that time to see the reunited Kiss in '96 in Louisville at Freedom Hall. And who should open but Alice in Chains?
That's right.
Last show they ever played with Lane.
Oh, that's right.
And then fast forward a bunch more years, and Alice in 2006, so the first year we were going around touring and trying to hammer out a new existence and kind of establish our right to do this thing and all that. We got contracted to play a festival in Japan. Mr. Udo asked us to do a thing, and along with a bunch of other great artists, right, including Kiss. So we played on the same stage as Kiss, and this was one of those festivals where, for whatever reason, things did not go according to plan, right? In terms of, attendance, right? And so whether it was a promotion thing, whether there was some other stuff going on behind the scenes, I don't know. That's never come to light. But the bottom line is, you had all these people, from Steve Vai to Alice in Chains to Kiss to, Paul Rogers was on the gig. There was a lot of great people on the gig playing to virtually nobody, right?
Wow.
Outside in the mountains, right? So,
wow.
So, and the great part was, we all made the most of it, of course, and had a great time anyway.
Yeah.
When Kiss went on, we had played just a little while before, and then we went out. I went out in the audience to get into the press pit to kind of watch Kiss. So the crowd's behind me, right? And Kiss is just, arm's length in front of me, doing their whole thing. And so this is like I said, it's 2006. So it's makeup and everything still.
Mm-hmm.
They're doing their thing. And at one point, Paul says something, one of his stage raps, like, all right, now I want everybody to just close your eyes and imagine that there's 1 million people here. Now don't turn around. That was the part that killed me. Don't turn around.
Well, good call, man.
I got such a kick out of that, man.
That's great.
And the fact that he was just, like I said, about arm's length from me saying all this, just to see him do his whole thing, and to improvise in the moment for that gig was so cool. It was just great.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
Now, is he somewhat of an influence to you, lead singer, frontman, but with the guitar?
Absolutely. Yeah. I
right.
No getting around it. He took from the best and made his own thing. He took from Steve Marriott, and he took from just all these great folks that he was seeing back in the day. And I did the same thing and took from him. So he's part of the lineage for sure. And I think in terms of just the level of commitment that he's always brought to being his best. His work ethic is unbelievable. Yeah. And across 50 plus years, right? So that's the kind of undeniable thing that I look to as a benchmark when I'm measuring myself and what kind of performer I'd like to be, and the respect that I like to hold for my audience, any audience that I'm playing for.
Nice.
Yeah, Paul is absolutely a high bar for sure.
Cool. Yeah. Mark, let's talk a little bit now, or a lot, about Metal Allegiance. This is like an unbelievable project that you have been working on for quite a long time. William is the newest quote unquote member of this project. Tell us how this even came about and how you've just incorporated like legend after legend after legend to be part of this.
I still don't know, man. It really started pretty organically back in 2013.
Yeah.
Mike, Dave, and Alex and I were kind of doing this cover thing, if you will, just 4 dudes getting together, having fun. Right? Really nothing more than that. MA started in 2014, and our first quote-unquote show was on Motorhead's Motorboat Cruise.
Okay.
Yeah, so we got to play that. It was awesome. I mean, it was one of Motorhead's. It wasn't their last show, but it was towards the end of Lemmy's career. And I always credit Lemmy for kind of giving us our start, which he had a lot to do with handpicking the bands that were on that cruise, and it was awesome. And there was a hurricane going on at that time where the boat couldn't stop. We were supposed to go to Key West. We were stuck on this boat for 3 days. Everyone's losing their mind. And it was between the first 2 sets. We did one gig one day, off the next day, gig the following day. It was that middle day where Mike, Dave, and myself were just hanging out. And I remember going, what fucking island is that over there, man? It was Cuba.
Oh, Jesus.
We just kept circling Cuba to stay out of the hurricane.
Right. Oh, wow.
And that's what Mike said. We should write a record. And it's very in jest, not taken serious, but it stuck with me. And wow, that'd be kind of cool, right? Write a record with these guys.
Now, when you say Mike, you mean Mike Portnoy?
Portnoy.
Yep.
Good.
Portnoy,
Okay.
Yep.
Great guy. We've had him on here too.
Yep.
Yeah,
now he's a big Kiss fan.
Oh yeah.
And those shows, we did a lot of Kiss, and a lot. Call Gin.
Nice.
Not to Choose. I mean, Detroit Rock City. Well, I mean, we've done it all back in
Yeah.
And it was so. Fast forward, the cruise was over. We came home, and Mike started the group text, and it was like, let's do this. And all these years later, here we are, and a few records, bunch of touring, bunch of cool festivals. And William gracing us with his amazing vocal talent. And honestly, it's pretty surreal that we're still here, that it even lasted one record, let alone a bunch.
Right. Now you've taken, there was a little bit of a gap between the new single with William about 8 years, right?
Yeah. And that was you know how bands get, and projects. It's sometimes you need some time apart. And you have to find yourself again. You have to find each other again. And that's kind of what happened. Last year, we were together, and Mike pulled up this song that we finished. We wrote Alex and I wrote the song. Mike helped arrange it, and he goes, we still got this tune, man. It would be cool to start getting the wheels going again. And we listened to it, and I'm driving my truck one day with my son, my younger son, listening to Alice in Chains, and I told William this story at our rehearsal for the gig last month. I was like, this is the song that inspired my brain to reach out to you to potentially sing on Black Horizon. Well, then it wasn't called Black Horizon. It was Last of My Kind, Alice in Chains song.
Oh, so good.
It was just like fucking light bulb went off in my head. I was like, I got to reach out, man. And who knew? I mean, who knew? And it was just like, here you go. Here's the music. Have a field day. And this is the first song I did not have a part or a hand in the lyrics, which was awesome for me.
Yeah.
I loved it.
Yeah.
It was awesome. And it was like, have fun, go to town, whatever you want to say, man, whatever this music is telling you to say. Obviously, William could talk more on that, but that's kind of where it went. And again, very organic. Nothing was forced. And that's just kind of how it's been going. It's been steamrolling, which is great.
Yeah. William, when you got the call, were you surprised? Were you I mean, obviously there's excitement, Metal Allegiant, these guys, and now you're about to front, with some of the great guys in metal and hard rock. When you got that call, you must have been like, whoa, let's go.
Well, I was very pleasantly surprised. And, I've been on a kind of a yes campaign lately about the last. So.
Yep.
Meaning that more or less anything that kind of comes my way where I might have under different circumstances thought twice about it, or even thought 3 times about it, or maybe wouldn't have considered it. Now there's much more of an attitude of sure. And so that's resulted in a lot of interesting work over just the last few years. And so when I got that message from Mark, I took it in that spirit, and I thought, send the music, And then I heard the music, and immediately the title Black Horizon came to mind. And so that's always a good sign when you get something, anything, a kernel of an idea right away. That's, after all the years of doing this, that's one of my clear signals that something might be worth undertaking. And so I got the title Black Horizon. I even got the narrative, like the basic narrative thread of like, what would it be like if, we finally got civilians to start colonizing Mars, and what might their journey be like? And what if something goes wrong? Something's right. So these aren't trained pilots. These are not astronauts. They're not soldiers. They're not infrastructure, personnel. These are just regular people, regular families. What would happen if we actually got to a point where a journey like that was taking place and something went wrong? And I just ran with that. And
wow.
And so again, when I had that much of an idea that quickly, I thought, okay, this is a good sign. I should follow through with this. And then there's just the matter of fleshing it out, right? Actually putting words and phrases to music, to melody, and reacting off of the different parts of the song, because that was one thing that this music presented as a challenge, is sort of, well, okay, how do you get inside of this thing as a singer, and where do you pick your moments to say something? And when you're saying whatever you're saying, what are you doing to kind of hopefully complement the sonics going on beneath you, rather than step on them, or rather than letting those sonics step on you, right? So, and I'd faced this kind of challenge before on many occasions. I mean, even certain Alice songs, but certainly with something like Giraffe Tongue Orchestra, like that was a real clear-cut challenge. The kind of music those guys were presenting was like, wow, I almost have to become like a playwright or like a movie actor or something, and write a role and then inhabit the role. And that was similar with Black Horizon. It was like, okay, I'm in the shoes of these people on this ship hurtling into nowhere. What might some of my thoughts and fears and all of that be? Why did we even undertake this journey? Like, what, it kind of alludes to something obviously went wrong back home. You know what I mean? So there was just a lot to kind of play with there, and and you pick your moments and react. The song, the music has so many mood shifts.
Yep.
So as much as it's a challenge, it's also, I think, very stimulating. So it's like it becomes a worthy challenge to try to rise to. So that's all I tried to do, and I think it came out well.
It came out better than well. It's it's spectacular. Trust me.
So one of the things I want to think about is, so you got this song that just came out, right? And then you also do your stuff for Alice. You do your own solo material. So you get this track. Like, do you separate this? Like, hey, I'm using a different writing style because I'm doing this for an Alice in Chains song, or I'm doing this for a solo song, or, just changing, oh, well, this is, for Mark, so I got to kind of make it a Metal Allegiance type song. How does that work for you? Or are you like, you know what? A fucking great song is a great song. And since I'm working on the Alice album right now, it's an Alice song. Or is it, I'll put that for my solo album coming up. How does that work for you? And Mark, too, for your projects.
It's not so conscious for me necessarily. With something like this Metal Allegiance song, it was really just I'm reacting to the music I'm being sent. So there's not a whole lot in terms of like, well, this has to be metal. You know what I mean?
Right.
I don't even know necessarily what that is, right? So it's I'm just reacting to what's happening. And like I said, I tried to write myself a role, and then I inhabit the role. I have to find the voice for that role and for all the various emotional changes that the person or people in that role are experiencing, So that's really all it was. And that's for the most part what it is with Alice, with my own things, with Giraffe Tongue Orchestra, with whatever, and the same goes for producing other groups, right? So producing for the Who, the Mongolian group, same spirit, or producing for Chained Saint, the new metal kids on the scene, same thing. It's just, what does this situation need? What can I bring to it? How can I help to make this better and get it where it needs to go, or at least where I think it needs to go? And so it's all kind of a similar mindset, just applied to different situations.
Yeah. Now, Mark, when you're putting, kind of like, just to kind of follow up on what Zeus says, when you're writing these songs, you said "Last of My Kind," the Alice in Chains song, that kind of shook your, like, okay, I want William for something. Is that normally how it works when you put these songs together? Like, I want this vocalist, so I'm going to write this song. Or do you do it the other way around? Do you kind of write a song and say, you know what, this would fit X?
Yeah, I've never written a song where I had a vocalist or a particular voice in mind. It's always music.
Okay.
It's always been music.
Yep.
With MA, Alex and I, we gel really well together. We're two completely different styles of music. He's the music educated one. I always joke with him. I got my streets in my education in the streets of New York City. Right?
Yeah.
And whether it was the 5 boroughs and dragging an Ampeg amp down fucking Canal Street in Manhattan, that's education. Where Alex, he grew up Bay Area. He grew up, in the thrash metal world, and he went to school. He's educated, has degrees in music, and he's probably the smartest person I know, hands down. And for whatever reason, you take the two of us, we come up with these songs, and it's great. So you could hear the differences. You could hear a part and you go, you fucking know Alex wrote that part.
Yeah.
And then you could hear another part that's kind of sludgy or groovy, or just kind of has this twang to it, where it's just like, it's probably Mark who did that. And if you listen to Black Horizon, I call that song a melting pot, because you're getting
so good.
You're getting the best of all of us, and then throw Mike, who he's a genius behind it. We call him the magician of the whiteboard.
Yeah.
In the studio, he has a whiteboard. No, I'm not joking. He has a whiteboard. He's like the fucking mad scientist. This part's going to go here. This part's going to go there. We're going to do this to 4 times. This for 2. It's like, what the hell are you talking about, man?
Well, he's used to that from being in Dream Theater. Yeah. He's used to doing all that stuff. So yeah.
And that's usually how the structures come about.
Right.
The arrangement. So it works. And so for this particular song and all MA songs, it's because we're not a traditional band. It's
right.
Who's going to sing on this? And this song was a challenge, because we didn't want it to be. We wanted to evolve. We wanted to grow as a sound, if you will.
Sure.
And like I said, one day driving, Last of My Kind came on, and we were just revisiting this song instrumentally, and it just, like I said, the light bulb went off, and and there it was. But every song we've ever recorded, whether it be Let Darkness Fall with Troy, Gift of Pain with Randy, it's just these. So after the fact, we're like, man, that'd be kind of cool if so and so, if so and so did that. So it's definitely awesome, but it's also humbling at the same time to be able to share this music with them, and then for them to actually want to do it, which is pretty cool.
Yeah,
that's awesome. One thing I got to say is, and I have to jump in on Mark's story. So being huge Alice in Chains fans, and and I'm sure this is nothing new for you, William. Jesus, they got a new singer. He's obviously not Lane. Okay. But I'm like, I'll give it a chance because I think Jerry was just as great in Alice in Chains as Lane. So I'm like, okay, I'll give it a chance. I put this on and I'm holding Black to Blue, right?
Yep.
And when your fucking song came on, I swear to you, I was like, that's it. I'm hooked.
Me too.
You got me. I'm into this new Alice in Chains. It was that song that Mark is talking about.
Last of My Kind.
Fucking, when that shit picks up and you start screaming, holy shit. I was like, this is as good as anything AIC's done. So we have this conversation, Tom and I know this is blasphemy for a lot of AIC fans. I love Wood. Who doesn't? But we've had this conversation and he'll be like, Wood is one of the top 5 songs. Allison. I'm like, that's not even my favorite top 20. Yeah. And it's because I named like 3 or 4 songs off of this album, like newer Alice in Chains, because there's so many great tunes. It doesn't have to be like the core is still there, I feel, and you add to it. You're not replacing Lane. You're just adding a different element. And I think it is one of those Brian Johnson moments where, we'd all love to have more Bon Scott, but he's not here. Brian Johnson's fucking damn good. And that AC/DC still just as fucking good. And that's what I see with you and Alice in Chains. And you're talking to 2 major diehard Alice in Chains fans that grew up with this shit in college and played Jar of Flies nonstop on our 5-disc changer that we all had in college, if you guys know what I mean. And we used to play that shit nonstop. And then we got to hear your shit. And Tom and I were like, holy fuck, they're still that good.
Yep.
So I got to give you that kudos. And it helps because Mark brought up Last of My Kind. And I'm like, I gotta put this in because I gotta get this off my chest, and I'll forget about it if I don't. So I had to tell you that story. I'm sorry.
Very kind. I appreciate it very much. And that song, "Last of My Kind," actually was started because Cantrell. I was living in LA at the time, and I lived in West Hollywood. Cantrell lived over the hill in Studio City, and he rang me once, and he just said like, I don't know, you got anything, like meaning ideas, right?
Yeah.
This is 2005, 2006, and really, really early on.
Yeah.
And I said, no, I don't, but he said, well, you want to come over anyway? I was like, yeah, okay. So I got in my car and I'm driving over the hill, driving over Laurel Canyon. And I see on the floor of my passenger seat, front passenger seat, there's a napkin. And I pick up this napkin, and on it, I had written "So young, so brazen, so unholy."
Whoa.
And I thought, oh yeah. And I must have scrawled that one night, you know what I mean? And then parked the car, like maybe a night of imbibing or whatever. I forgot about it. And so I picked it up and I'm like, oh yeah, that's pretty cool. And I just started thinking about it as I'm driving over the hill, and more little bits started coming. And I got to Cantrell's house, and I went in, and he was watching football on the television, and he had this little room where he had a little laptop and a little microphone and just kind of a bare bones little setup there. And he said, hey, I just went in there, and once I just saw how to work his little setup, he just said, okay, well, I'm gonna go watch the game, and he just left me to it, and I played. He had the track like demoed,
pretty
much exactly as you hear it, on the record. I mean, in terms of arrangement.
Yeah.
And I just sat there and wrote Last of My Kind in about an hour.
Oh,
so
shit.
See, that's the genius, folks. They find napkins on the floor of their car. That's what a genius is, right there.
And now you got people all over this fucking world putting.
They're all singing those songs.
I mean, so it was. I like when it's that straightforward, because those moments, that's what you live for as a writer. And so about an hour later, I sang it, right? I sang it pretty much as you hear on the arrangement wise. I sang it pretty much as you hear it on the album. And so I went out and said, "Hey man, come here and check this out." So we hit play, listened down to it, just in silence. We just sat there, like, kind of looking at the computer and listening. And at the end, we just looked at each other and went, "Yeah, cool." You know, that was it. We shook hands. That was it. You know, and I left.
Amazing. Yeah. And it's funny because, again, Zeus and I, like, we grew up listening to, the OG Alice in Chains, and when Lane passed, obviously that was such a massive loss, and then everyone's wondering what's next. And when Black Gives Way to Blue comes out, I'm like, I have to see where we're going here. And when All Secrets Known starts and your vocals break through there, it is, I get goosebumps thinking about it, because I remember exactly where I was when I put this on, and it blew me back to think that I can't believe this band is evolving into this right now. And then you put out The Devil Put Dinosaurs Here, which to me is the definition of a flawless album from top to bottom. And then Rain, Air, Fog comes out, and I'm like, I need more. It's just, again, I told you we were going to gush a little bit over Alice in Chains, because this is what we do. And it's just it's fascinating. My son, when I told him that we were having you and Mark on the show, my son, he's 21. He loves Alice in Chains. I'll say this. He had tickets to see you guys last year. And unfortunately, it was the tour where Sean got ill. And
there's more to that story. Where were we that night?
We were
seeing Ace in New Hampshire.
That's right. We were seeing Ace about a month before.
And then we hung out with him at the end of the show, because we're friends with Ryan Spencer Cook, his bandmate. And so we hung out with Ace, and then within a month he had been gone, and he's gone.
Yeah.
It's so surreal for us.
So there was a lot going on that night. But William, your tenure with Alice in Chains, just, I mean, it's Zeus. We wave the flag for those albums. They're so spectacular. There's so much. They're so different from Lane, which is what you would expect. But there's so much. Your vocals just add something different. Like Lane and Jerry were so brilliant together, and I feel that you and Jerry are so brilliant together on a different level. And there's the emotion that comes out of that. There was so much pain with Lane, and the emotion that you bring to what you do with Alice is just so different. And I guess as a fanboy, I just kind of wanted to get that out there and let you know how impactful those three albums have been that you've done with them.
Right on, man. Thank you so much. It's always really cool to hear perspectives like that, because you don't know. I mean, I'm just inside of it and just trying to get from one day to the next.
Right.
Oh, that's our favorite thing, William.
Yeah.
Introducing our audience to newer Alice in Chains. We fucking love it. And then we'll get a message back. Holy shit. I didn't know they could do that. I'm like, give it a shot. You're missing out.
Yep.
And that's fantastic. The one thing I will say, though, and I got to ask this question, I love Sap and Jar of Flies. Is there any chance an EP acoustic shit? Because I think Jerry's brilliant with that. And with you and your vocals, any chance of any third acoustic type EP from Alice in Chains like that on the horizon?
We'll have to see. I mean, I wouldn't rule it out. I mean, we'll have to see. I think that's an interesting idea, and it's definitely one that we've heard before. So I could never rule it out.
Yeah. Those
I like an
songs,
answer like that.
like Right Turn and stuff on Sap. They're just so brilliant. And Jar of Flies is what we grew up in college, but it's all good. As long as you guys are putting out new music and finding something to get excited about and new projects like this with you and Mark, it's fantastic. Now I'm going to switch back to Mark. What do you guys have besides this single right now? What's the future looking like?
I actually want to add one thing to what you said.
Oh, please do. Go.
Because I just remembered 2000, 2001, not sure of the year. It Comes with the Fall opening for Jerry Cantrell with William singing with Jerry.
Yes.
Generation Trip show. I saw that at the Bowery Ballroom in New York City. And that was by accident because I had a gig that night right next door. Right. So we got there early and it was like, oh shit, Jerry's playing. I think Rob Trujillo was on. He played bass on that.
Nice.
For whatever reason, I remember Rob being there.
Yeah.
I remember Rob jamming. I'm not sure if Rob played the whole show. William could speak more, but I remember that gig, and I remember William's band playing that, going fuck. And I just remember saying to myself, "We got to." I remember to my old bandmates, I'm like, "We got to be better." No, it was very real. And then William came out with Jerry, and I was like, "Fuck, we got to go play a gig now." It was like, shit.
Yeah.
And those are good times, man. And that's, being a New York guy. New York was very vibrant back then. 90s, obviously 70s, 80s, but I guess my years, if you will, were in the 90s. And any given night, you could see anybody in all these plethora of clubs that are unfortunately no longer there.
Yeah.
And it kills me because, one night you could go see Alice, you could go see Jerry. I saw Comes with the Fall another time. It might have been Tramps or Wetlands. I forgot. There was another time you played in Manhattan. I was, again, playing a gig. But any night you could see, Lemmy at the old Continental Club in Manhattan down in St. Mark's. It was just, it was a melting pot. And that's missing in today's music. I believe.
Absolutely.
It's funny you say that, Mark. So we grew up just outside of Boston. We still live outside of Boston, and so many clubs are gone. And I mean, you guys are music fans, so you know the importance of Boston and the music and that club scene is just evaporating. And you're right. It's just it is too bad.
Man, listen, I used to gig CBGB all the time, man.
Yeah.
Limelight, the list goes on. I'm not here without those clubs.
Right.
That's where you break your bones, man. And I feel as great as there's so many great players out there and so many great musicians right now up and coming.
Yeah.
Whether they're YouTube, TikTok, I just feel that if people would just get in the van and go.
Yeah.
Forget about the social media. Forget about TikTok views or YouTube counts, and get your station wagon broken down on the side of I-95. What are you doing, man? And I just believe that stuff is what makes people like William and those experience. I don't know his experiences, but I know for me, and at least with Mike and Alex and those guys and my other projects, we had to go through those struggles, man. It was fucking real.
Yeah, I'm sure.
It was real. And I just wish more bands and artists were doing that and playing that circuit, because I believe that makes a musician, it makes a band, it makes that brotherhood or sisterhood. And like Kiss, we mentioned Kiss earlier, playing at the Daisy. That's where they learned to cut their chops, man. Like I said, they put their makeup on for the first time in a bar. Which brings me full circle back to William and Comes with the Fall. That's I love that band. I don't think I've ever told William that, but to me, that's, bands like that is why I believe, you get what you get out of these musicians, and William, William could speak to that, but I feel that, that's a huge influence on many different levels. Not so much musically, but just getting in that car and going, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny you say that, Mark. COVID hits, nothing's going. So just like you're talking about, just get the music out. So a friend of the show, Charlie Benante, was a monster during COVID, getting all these little things going.
Yeah.
And that's where I'm going.
Yep.
And I caught, and I was like, I don't know what it was. But next thing you know, I see Rusty Cage. I'm like, that's not fucking Chris Cornell singing that. Holy shit, did you rip on that? And I love that Charlie was doing that, and all these little super groups are doing that. And, that's where Chris Jericho created his, Kiss
Quarantine.
cover band during that. Yeah. All this shit was happening because some people looked at it as like, you know what? Fuck this. Let's find a way to make music. Even though we're not in the same room, we can still do it. I love your Rusty Cage cover. It was awesome.
Right on. Thank you, man. Bill Kelleher messaged me about that one. And, like you're saying, everything was the way it was at that.
Yeah.
And so none of us could really travel, and everybody was feeling the weight of that, and especially certainty of where things were going. And so we were just trying to make do, and, thankfully, the technology provided us a way of continuing in some fashion. And what was special about that otherwise very difficult period was that you had collaborations that you never would have had before. And so, you mentioned Rusty Cage with Bill Kelleher,
Mark,
and Charlie and Mark on bass. And I did a thing with, there was a thing with, a guy from the Killers and just these one-offs that were just so unusual and unique and specific to the circumstances, right? And so it's a way of making something good out of something that's really dark and bad. And I think it also harkens back to the way that we came up and all of the things that Mark was speaking to just a minute ago. And you did articulate my experience, Mark. I mean, I came up in punk rock and hardcore and touring in station wagons and things breaking down and sleeping outside in the rain because you got nowhere to go and staying at strangers' houses. And
good old days, man.
And I was really, really inspired and continue to be inspired to this day by the whole SST scene. So those were kind of my idols that became my friends and my friendly acquaintances. So Greg Ginn, Chuck Dukowski, and then that later bled over into the Bad Brains, those guys. And particularly with SST, they were trying to kind of infiltrate the culture from the bottom up. And how they worked, I mean, living in a commercial space with no bathroom, no shower, and they lived there, they had their office there, they practiced there, everything happened there. And I got to see that firsthand. And so Comes With the Fall was kind of my attempt at doing something in a way where I wouldn't have to answer to any other higher authority, And so even though we, Comes With the Fall formed in Atlanta in 1999 and went to LA in 2000, and we hit the ground running, playing the clubs. And that's how I met Cantrell. I wasn't trying to get signed, and we didn't play showcases. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We went out there to find a whole lot of people living in that town. Cause it's a little village really. Right. And we saw just a whole bunch of bands that were, they were falling all over themselves to get signed. They were playing showcases. They called their bands projects. I was like, man, I don't know nothing about a project, man. I'm in a band. These guys, we live and die for each other. We sleep on the floor together. This is what we do. And I don't play showcases. I play gigs. Right. and I'm not here to be loved by everybody. You know what I mean?
Yep.
I don't care. The guy from Capitol Records comes and sees us at the Viper Room and invites us up to his office and then starts immediately telling me how much he loves our band and then all the different ways that he'd want to change our band.
Right.
Like it's just not what I'm doing. It's not what I'm doing here. And so when Cantrell was finishing up Degradation Strip, like
so good.
Right as we met, he was trying to finish that record and he was, he was having to do that record out of pocket. And so in so many ways, his experience at that particular moment aligned with my own, because I bankroll Comes with the Fall completely. Every record we ever did was on my label. So he was in this kind of weird position he had never been in before. And I was in a position that's the only position I'd ever been in, pretty much. We met kind of in this nexus crossroads, and, he was around us all the time. From the moment we met, he was with us. He slept on our floor right with us. He was in our apartment all the time. He moved into the building where we lived, just downstairs from us, and we were together all the time. And then when he finally finished the record and wanted to play some shows before didn't even have anybody to put the record out for like the first year that we toured. So Mark, you saw us in 2001. All of that touring was out of pocket.
Was it 01? It was 01 when you played Bowery?
I think it may have been. I'm a little blurry on exact venues and dates and things. I'd love to actually research that, but we did tour all of the United States for all of 2001, and it was all out of pocket. There was nobody putting that record out because the record didn't come out till later on in 2002. So the first year we were all out of pocket. We were doing the thing hand to mouth. But the beauty of it for me was that this was that vehicle was in perfect alignment with what I wanted for Comes with the Fall, because I didn't want to be touring on some label's dime where they get to pull whatever, This was like, look, you need a band, and Borden and Trujillo played on Degradation Trip, but they obviously had commitments with Ozzy and everything, and they couldn't just tour like that. So yeah, they did a few shows here and there. But for the most part, it was like, you need a band. We are rabid dogs. We will rip anything apart that you put in front of us. We'd already been through every single thing you could go through in Atlanta, because I said we formed in 1999, but we were in another band prior to that morphed into Comes with the Fall. And all of us separately and together had been through every ringer that a local music scene can put you through. And so we were just like, man, we don't give a fuck. You know what I mean? We weren't impressed by anybody. We didn't care. And it showed. And the minute we arrived in LA, we had that on us. You couldn't pretend that. You can't fake that. We didn't give a fuck. And so everywhere we went, we would even stuff we didn't care about at all, like the velvet rope kind of hangs, that happened, the after hours, and this. We got invited to all that stuff just because we were a pack and we didn't give a fuck. And then when we would play, we were animals, and everybody could see it. Cantrell saw it. He practically joined our band. He was there every gig we played from the time we met. He would find out when we were playing, even when we didn't know, right? So you get those 6 bills, 6-band bills,
Mm-hmm.
You might be going on at 10, but that turns into midnight, 12:30. Well, every time we were setting up, he'd be right there pacing in front of the stage. He learned a couple of our songs off our first record. I taught him those songs in our kitchen in our apartment, and he would get up and play those 2 songs with us every gig. And that's how the touring, because when he needed a band, it's like, well, we're right here and we're ready to rip apart anything. So That's what we did.
Yeah.
We did it for 2 years straight, 2001 and 2002, 5 nights a week. And so, and it was,
you're making me sad right now.
Huh?
You're making me sad thinking about those times.
Yeah, no. It was a special time. It really was a special time. And like I said, I'm very grateful for it, because it gave the opportunity that I had been dreaming about in a lot of ways to just sort of make records and sell them directly to the people after you play. You know what I'm saying? So we got to play all these rooms that we never would have gotten into on our own. And we got to play in front of these audiences we wouldn't have gotten in front of otherwise. but it wasn't like a favor. It wasn't charity. It was, we were earning our keep, like double duty every night. You know what I mean? Playing our set and then toweling off, running right back on stage and playing Cantrell's set. And so we were doing the thing, and it was a great symbiosis. And it was this opportunity to get directly to people. And it was beautiful, man. It really was. And it paved the way for Alice Resurrection. There's no way the Alice thing happens, in 2006 without that. It really paved the way, because you really get to know somebody when you're in a bus with them for months at a time, 7 days a week. And especially when it was more, like I said, it was more lo-fi touring. So there was no like luxury to speak of. We would get to these places and have to park and just kind of be there. Now, for me, it was luxury because all I ever had was station wagons and vans if I was lucky.
Right.
But for, in terms of just the living conditions, we were close quarters all the time. And you see everybody in all their different states of mind, right? Throughout that whole, the months and the road. And you do get to start kind of becoming very primal and very feral. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
and so that's how we came up, and that is what provided the momentum for Alice to resurrect, for real.
You know what I find fascinating throughout all this time?
I love it.
Every time you refer to him as Cantrell.
Yeah.
Not Jerry. Not a nickname.
I love that.
Is that how you literally call him? Cantrell? You call each other by your last names? I'm just curious. It's just
really, usually it's just I'm talking to him or I'm not talking to him. He might call me Will. Sometimes we refer to each other as last names.
Yeah.
I just found that fascinating. You kept you call him Cantrell. Yeah, Cantrell. Yeah, Cantrell. It's fucking, for me, it's almost like I'm like in the room when you don't notice me when you guys are like practicing and shit. I'll tell you, we wish we could have caught you guys touring. Before I want that to finish up. Is there any Alice news of either touring, music, or anything that is you can say publicly now, or is it one of those stay tuned? Who knows?
Yeah, it's really stay tuned. Who knows, man?
Ah, nice. Okay, it's worth a shot.
But you realize there are millions of us out there hoping that it's not a stay tuned. It's a coming soon.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do realize that. I think we all realize that, and we really appreciate it. We don't take
and good health to you guys too, because we know there's some health issues, and that's the main thing. I understand.
Yeah,
absolutely. So I mean, we're really grateful for everyone who is waiting on whatever we might do next. You know, you can't take that for granted. That's a blessing, and so we certainly see it that way. And man, I mean, we'll just have to see. I mean, at some point, probably sooner than later, we'll at least get together and see where we are.
Good.
The Northeast is always a good place to do a tour or start. And we did get to see Jerry in Boston. There's a new place right in the Boston Garden.
Yeah, when he released it. When he released Brighton, the Brighton album.
We caught that tour. For a little bit.
Fantastic. So,
But we've been saying to ourselves, we haven't seen you with Alice in Chains. So we have to see that sometime soon.
So you have to do that for us, William.
Yeah, nobody else in the world matters. But being on this podcast, you go, I got to owe those two Boston idiots.
I got to get those two loudmouths. I got to tour for them.
For Boston,
Before we let you guys go, Mark, just one kind of quick kind of tie up the entire conversation here, kind of the way we started. You guys a few weeks ago just did a show in California, and one of the songs that you pulled out of your hat was Shock Me. Tell us briefly how that came about. I'm assuming that was kind of to pay tribute to the late great Ace. It was spectacular. I saw the videos. You had William singing, you had Chuck Billy singing, you had everybody. It was awesome. Tell us a little bit about that.
It was actually Chuck's idea to do that.
No kidding. Okay.
I believe it was Chuck's idea.
Okay.
Chuck sent an email. I don't remember if it was an email or a text, but it was like, we should do Shock Me.
Nice.
Everyone's like, yep, definitely. Like one of those. That's easy. Things. And Dave, Dave's huge, kisses his everything on this planet.
Yep.
Right. So it was like, Dave, that's all you, man. I ain't going there.
Yeah.
That's all you have at it. So, and
Nice.
I wanted to watch it.
Yeah, perfect.
Kind of selfishly. It was awesome. William played on it. I'll let him speak on that. I was just a fan watching.
I was so happy to see that with me in on that, because I didn't ask for that, specifically. And when I saw it, I was like, oh, this is cool.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't even know what led to me being on that, but I was like, this is perfect, because again, Ace was one of my foundational influences on guitar, and in terms of attitude and everything else he brought. And so I was like, man, this is just one of those perfect serendipitous things, and what a great pleasure to work on stage with Chuck. He's someone I've run into him a few times here and there over the years, various backstages and things, but never in a million years do I imagine I'm going to be duetting with him on anything, right? Let alone Ace Frehley shock me. It was so awesome. And we didn't work out really much of anything. We didn't rehearse it. It was literally like a few minutes before going on to do it. It was like, so what are you thinking? You take the first line, I'll take the second line each verse, and we'll just kind of wing it for the rest. And that's what we did. And it was, again, perfectly in keeping with so much of Ace and how he lived, how he played,
Just winging it. Yep.
Yeah. And it was a great honor and great pleasure. And I'm just so glad it happened,
Yeah.
Perfect.
Ellison's funny. He was on our show, and he's such a little kid about Kiss. He'd be like talking to us. He goes, hold on a second. And he'd pull out like the original lunchbox. He's like, I got to show you this. I even have the thermal, and I have this and that. You're like, dude, you are worse than some of our listeners. Like, he was such all into it. So I know exactly what you mean, Mark.
So now you see why I just went like this, man. Dude.
Yeah, he was showing us pictures. This is me at the end of the road tour with them. This is me. And we're like, dude, you're worse than us. And it's great to see all these people that look to bands like Kiss, and it's such an influence.
The worst one is Portnoy.
Oh yeah.
Oh, he's up there too, but he's not as
let me tell you,
toy wise.
I've stayed, so all these MA records and a good amount of the music was written at Mike's house.
Yep.
Now, you've ever seen in interviews Mike does, he has, all the shit on the wall.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Yes.
And we had him on. His background was like a museum.
Yes.
Now imagine a giant house categorized in alphabetical order like the Smithsonian. I'm not joking.
I believe you.
Anything and everything you could think of, not only Kiss related, but all his favorite, Rush, Metallica, and Pink Floyd, the Beatles.
Yep.
I mean, it's like you go down there and it's like, don't touch that. And well, I would fuck with him. In his bathroom down there, he has all these Kiss bobbleheads on the shower. So I would take them off. I would move them down.
Oh, jeez.
You don't fuck with a man's Kiss toy.
And he was running in there, but he is Dave's big, but Mike, they're neck and neck, man.
We did a Kiss book with all these rock stars and all these other stuff. They would write about the Kiss songs, lyrics and stuff, or what their favorite songs are. Mike contributed a bunch, and everyone, whatever favorite songs, he picked 10 songs he wanted to talk about, gushing.
Yep.
And I know what you mean. Yeah, but that's what music's all about. You hear us talking about those Jar of Flies and all these other stuff, and people will be talking about, and you guys yourselves talking about these influences that you have, and that's what music does for everybody. Yeah. And you know what? Right now, you guys are two of the best doing it still. So we thank you so much for coming on and talking with us right now.
It's incredible. It's been amazing. Mark Menghi, Metal Allegiance, William DuVall, Alice in Chains, helping out Mark with the latest track, Black Horizon. Check it out. It's incredible. You guys have been amazing. This has been so much fun for us. We hope you guys have had a great time. We're so appreciative of your time. Wish you guys the best. Mark with more Metal Allegiance, William with more Alice in Chains. You guys are amazing. Thank you so much for spending some time with us.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, guys.
pleasure. It really has.
Tom, that was William DuVall and Mark Menghi.
Incredible stuff. I mean, what an honor to have William on. I mean, you're going to be hard pressed to find two bigger Alice in Chains fans than us, and especially fans of those albums that William has done. And of course, Mark was fantastic too, talking about his project and what he's done and the evolution of that band, their KISStory stories, the performances with Shock Me, William talking about the Ace influence, just an incredible interview. Tons of fun there for us.
I had a blast. And again, we're still at 100%. These people were fucking awesome. Awesome. And we hope that you like the list of guests we're getting. And we have a few more surprises coming up soon. And it's quite humbling that
indeed
a lot of these guests that we've had recently have come to us.
Right.
This was presented to us.
Yeah.
Do you know how fucking like We're Not Worthy and Wayne's World shit Tom and I are doing right now about the fact that we got William DuVall's people asking to come on here?
Yep. To promote their project. They're coming to us. That's about as humbling as it gets.
Oh, just incredible stuff. And it's not just to us, it's to you, the Loudcaster.
100%.
Thank you guys. Because of you guys, we get to talk to these guys. So thank you guys. Until next time, peace out, Girl Scout. Oh, you over here? Yeah, I'm over here now.
Zeus, it's me. I want to end the show now.
Jesus Christ, Tom. Jesus Christ. Let's end the show now while we got the muscle.